The Woody Lynn Show.
This is the Bigfoot episode, everybody. Welcome to the Bigfoot episode. Yes, we are finally going to talk about Bigfoot in this episode. Here we go. This is a topic that, I wanted to avoid for as long as possible. I didn't want to bring it up, but I've been forced to talk about this topic before I want to talk about it. But you know what? There's always a reason behind these things. And so something happened this week that made me say, you know what? It's time I do the Bigfoot episode. I thought to myself, I was going to wait till spring, summer. I was going to wait fall. I was going to wait on this topic because it's a big topic. It might take a couple episodes. It might not fit all in this one episode, but something happened again. Something happened this week, and I just thought to myself, it's time to squash the rumors. It's time to get this out there to the public. And now I'm talking about Bigfoot, everybody. Bigfoot. And how Bigfoot relates to me, how we're intertwined, how that this is something that I'm not going to say I've been known for. I'm not going to say I'm known for Bigfoot in this area. I'm just saying that when people see a Bigfoot sticker, they usually purchase it and bring it to me as a gift. So every time somebody sees a Bigfoot thing, they usually give it to me, and I love it, and I absolutely adore it, and I don't want it to change. So that's why I need to get this out there. I need to talk about Bigfoot. So people need to know why Bigfoot is such a big deal in my life. Okay. So first of all, let's get the things out of the way first, the housekeeping things. You may notice an upgrade in the gear. That's right. For all you nerds out there, because I am one, I can say that. I have upgraded the Woody Land Show podcasting gear here in the home office. I have upgraded everything except the computer. All right. So for everybody out there, hopefully you hear an increase in the sound quality because of our last episode. I told you technology is on the way, and our Bargainburg after Christmas parade, it enabled us to get new gear for the home office, and I'm so happy about that. I have the Logitech Blue Sona microphone, which I am loving. I am absolutely loving this, by the way. I love the sound of it. The Rodecaster Duo board. I've got a new mic arm. I've got new noise shielded XLRs. I've got new technology here in the home office. And what am I going to do with that new technology? I'm talking about Bigfoot. How fitting, right? So this week, something cool, funny, offbeat happened. And I started getting so let me give a little reference. In my day job, I own a marketing agency, and we manage quite a few social media pages and channels. So I have a long list. So I oftentimes miss notifications, right? So it may be a couple days before I start seeing somebody tag me. Sometimes I miss it for months, and then I'll go back and actually see it just because there's so many notifications. But, I started getting notifications this week on a news story that was circulating on our local news channel, WSET. Shout out to that crew. Amazing crew there. Hard-hitting news. Wonderful crew to work with, by the way, on the marketing side. Always nice to me, so I appreciate them. So they did a story and shared it on Facebook, and I started getting tagged in it. Well, actually, listen to the story first, okay? Here's a story that ran about Bigfoot in our area that I was getting tagged in. And then I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. Here we go.
Is Bigfoot real? Well, some folks thought they got their answer this week. There were many sightings of a large hairy figure in wintergreen, on the mountain, in wooded areas, even caught on Ring cameras. There were so many questions, the Wintergreen Police Department made a post about it. Chief Dennis Russell says it was all staged.
It was just
I guess maybe something that maybe got out of hand, but it was all fun and games. I think he just wanted to maybe elevate people's happiness during the holiday season.
Chief Russell says the Bigfoot imposter stopped when he found out people were taking it more seriously than he expected.
Okay. So let me put the rumors to rest. If you think that it was me in the outfit, it was not. It was not, in fact, me. I will say, however, that the outfit that was pictured in the news story does look a lot like the one that I have. I can understand the confusion and the misunderstanding, but I do have an alibi. I do have witnesses. I could not have been in that outfit on those days in those woods. Plus, I have a rule. So in my Bigfoot costume, I don't make it a habit of wandering around the woods without spotters or without like knowing that there are no hunters in the woods, because this Bigfoot costume is so legit that I am terrified every time I film a commercial in it that I'm going to get taken out by a hunter wanting to claim the body of Bigfoot. All right. So you heard this news story. I got tagged and it was hilarious. And I told people it was not me, and it was not me. I am not joking, y'all. It was not me. However, I did work at Wintergreen out of high school. Loved it up there. It's beautiful. I have family in that area. I can, again, see how I am falsely accused of such a prankster outing. So rewind. So let's start with why Bigfoot is important to me, and why am I even talking about Bigfoot in this episode of the Woodyland Show, with which I got new technology and new gear in. All right. Rewind way back when. I've always kind of been fascinated with the unknown, right? Like with cryptids, with Bigfoot, with Yeti, with the Loch Ness Monster, with UFOs, with all kind of weird stuff. But Bigfoot always kind of stuck in my brain because of where I grew up. I grew up in Amherst County, rural, right, the foothills of Mount Pleasant. Not a lot around. So your imagination kind of runs wild a lot of times, and you wander off in the woods and you hear stories, and then you start investigating. And I had a camera back then, and we would make like little fun videos. I love Bigfoot. That's about all I can say. So that was when I was a kid. And then when I started getting into marketing and started doing commercials, I mentioned this back in like episode number 2 about doing commercials. Early on, I was approached by a local car dealership to do a series of ads that were going to air in the local theater here, that the general manager, quote, wanted them to be sticky. And by sticky, he means when people come into the movie, they don't want to see a commercial, but this commercial is going to run before the movie, the pre-show, pre-trailers. And he wanted it to be kind of funny, off the wall, and make them just think. They didn't want another financing special. They didn't want another deal. They wanted it to be different, that would not make sense on television, but that would kind of fit in the realm of a theater. All right. Me being interested in Bigfoot and UFOs, I instantly was like, all right, I got an idea. Okay. So we came up with this idea where there was a series of commercials that starred this TV show host. All right. His name was Rick Rambleman. Okay. Or Rick Ram for short. And he was a lot like the Mike Rowe / Crocodile Hunter, but based in Virginia type personality, right? He was out looking for Bigfoot or investigating these unknown claims. The storyline goes that he is leased a vehicle from the dealership in the commercial, right? And every time he's out looking for Bigfoot, like in the background, we had Bigfoot or a UFO steal the truck that during the show that was being taped. And then at the end of the commercial, he was always calling the dealership, trying to explain why the vehicle was gone. And he had to, Bigfoot stole it, UFO stole it. We had a water thing one time, so it was like a ongoing television commercial that the viewer in the movie theater, they were kind of plopping down in between the commercial break and seeing a 30-second episode. And I really wanted to do like a reality show spin to it, give it that, like, they're just shown a clip of a show, but it's a commercial. All right. So we ordered a Bigfoot costume from a guy in Oregon that the website looks like it was built in the 90s and never updated. So I was a little cautious when I put down like $500 on this costume, but it was by far the best looking costume I found on the internet, and no one around here had it. So I was like, okay, I want to do Bigfoot. This car dealership approached me to do a funny commercial. I think Bigfoot would be hilarious, and it doesn't offend anybody. It's just Bigfoot. And can we do it? And the dealership, go for it. So I bought the costume, had it shipped, and it was amazing. It was amazing costume. Like, I mean, the fur kind of flowed, so when you were out, it kind of had a bounce to it. The face, it's just, everything was magnificent about this costume. So we did these commercials, and they did really well. So they got people talking in the theater. They would come out of theater. We were getting text messages because my dad was in it. My friend, my neighbor was in it. We kind of made it a family thing. And then people were just talking about it. It was like a local little thing. People, oh, did you see the Bigfoot commercial? And some people thought it was stupid, which is fine. That's totally okay. However, we loved it, so we did more. Then they started airing on TV. We did some for TV and the theater, and it became the dealership's mascot, so to speak, for a couple years. They even had cardboard cutouts in the showroom, and we did like a little short film featuring Bigfoot, and we had this whole storyline. And I mean, we did probably close to 10 commercials, I think, all, but we also had like an animated logo and had all this stuff to do with it. Well, sadly, the dealership, well, not sadly, I mean, great for the owner, but they sold the dealership to a big, huge, multi-dealership, whatever. So our campaigns got pushed out because this big dealership uses an agency out of Chicago, and they all do corporate branding, and they don't do the local thing anymore. So I started using Bigfoot in other commercials that I was doing. So I was sad because this Rick Ram character was like my favorite, and Jeremy, who plays him, is just amazing and it was hilarious. But we transitioned him, and I kind of have put him in other commercials. Like we did one for Brown's Heating and Air, where Bigfoot called the HVAC called Brown's to put AC outside for him, which is hilarious. I'll post a link to that. That was a funny commercial. We have used him in Boone Tractor, where he stole a tractor. Yes, I repeated a storyline because it worked and it was funny. But we put Bigfoot in that commercial. I have used him in several of my own stuff online because I have the costume, and it is amazing. We called him Frankie. We even did a short, like a little funny skit with him with Hill City Paranormal. And we did like a Zoom meeting where we had a ghost, alien, Bigfoot, and Jeremy and I in it. And it was funny because we were all Zooming over COVID, but we treated it like it was real. But see, Bigfoot, that's the actual costume I have. So it's easier to do things with than like an alien or ghost that are like CG, because that takes a lot of time and money. So all in all, I have been using Bigfoot in my marketing for the last 8-10 years. I have loved Bigfoot forever, since I can remember, but I really became a fan like when I was able to use him in my marketing and kind of actually start to express my weirdness through the commercials when people would pay me to be creative. All right. So that's phase one, right? During this time of putting Bigfoot in the theater commercials and kind of really kind of just like talking about Bigfoot a lot and posting about Bigfoot a lot. Okay. I wanted to go on an adventure. This was a couple years ago. I wanted to go on a Bigfoot adventure. I wanted to experience something. So I literally Googled what was close around, like a whatever I could go to for a day with my wife and I. We can make a trip out of it. And we found the Paranormal and Cryptozoology Museum in Littleton, North Carolina, right? So one rainy day, it was rainy here, but like we weren't doing anything. It was like a Friday. I woke up. I was like, hey, do you want to go to this place in Littleton? You want to go? I want to have an adventure today that's something completely off. And she was like, yeah, let's go. All right. So we drive Littleton, North Carolina. There's nothing there. There's a Hardee's there. It was a very small town. I felt right at home there, to be honest with you, but like it was just not a lot going on. It's just like a sleepy little, cute little small town. So we go to the museum. Steve, the guy there, is awesome. He's instantly like, you feel like you've known him forever. He's amazing. And we're there, and I had my camera with me, and I was like, "Hey, can I interview you about Bigfoot? Because it's kind of my thing back home. I talk about him a lot, put him in commercials. I do a lot with Bigfoot. So we interview him in the museum. It was a slow day, and then after our interviewing, he asked me, he's like, "Hey, well, do you want to go to the place where a lot of people claim they see Bigfoot here?" I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. We drove 2.5 hours. Let's go. So we drive another 45 minutes. I don't know Steve. Keep that in mind. That's an important part of the story. I don't know this guy that well, but he's very trustworthy. So we follow him to the state park that's right down the road. And we park the cars and vehicles, and we just start walking in this state park. There's nothing around, y'all. Nothing. Right? Like it is a state park. It is woods, dense woods. So we start walking, and like we're walking like 45 minutes in the woods. And then we cross like a creek, we keep going, and then all of a sudden, and this is no joke. This is not like this really happened. We turn the corner and we see an area of the woods where like all these branches had been snapped off like 7 to 8 feet high off the ground. It's like 150 trees. It's not just 3. It's like in a little circle, right? And there's a whole lot of trees around it. And it's all right. Now I'm freaking out. I got my camera. I'm all about Bigfoot that day. And then we're in the woods and we see something, right? So then Steve instantly takes out his camera. He's over there vlogging, and I'm over here talking about it. And then like we're like freaking out. We're like, what happened? Now all of a sudden, my wife Laura had gone wandering a little bit, and she's like, hey guys, I think I found a footprint. No joke. Seriousness. So we run over there, and sure enough, there was a 21. We measured it, so that's how I know how big it was. It was a 21 inch to 22 inch long, huge, human-looking footprint at the base of one of these trees that had been snapped off like 7-8 feet high, and they'd been twisted, right? So we're freaking out. Everybody's freaking out. All right. Steve starts hiking back to his Explorer for a casting kit to cast the footprint, right? And we're sitting out there, and Laura and I our imaginations are running wild, right? So, I mean, so what turned into like a little trip to a museum ended up turning into a full day. Like we were out in the woods for like 4 hours while he did these foot casts. We found 2 footprints. She found them. We carried them back. He has them in the museum. They're in a glass case, which is amazing. We ended up eating at Hardee's after, eating some delicious chicken tenders because those tenders they're made fresh. And then we came home, and so Bigfoot was all that elevated me even more. And that was like 3 years ago. So then I did like a radio interview with a radio station, and here and there I'll get asked to do something. I haven't gone on any recent Bigfoot adventures. I've done a lot of podcasts on them. I did a dedicated podcast called Bigfoot Classified that is actual Bigfoot stories, but done like in a true crime way, right? So needless to say, I like Bigfoot. A lot of things associated with that. But let me tell you why, from a marketing standpoint, I really like Bigfoot. So it would start off with like my interest. I'd never seen Bigfoot before I put him in the commercials. But I found that using this creature in a commercial was wonderful because one, it never offended anybody. Somebody didn't watch it and like think that you were, I don't know, whatever, trying to deliver a message It was just such a universal character where you see it and it instantly makes you laugh. You're not really, you might roll your eyes a little bit, but the costume was so good, or is so good, that you didn't mind it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, this is funny, right? And he's universal. Like, he's like, you can kind of adapt him in whatever situation, again, because the costume was amazing. So it came across like we were spending a ton on props when we weren't really. So I love using him in marketing. And we're going to do another Browns commercial. We actually have it. We were supposed to do it before Christmas, but everybody got sick. So as you can probably tell, I sound a little bit stuffy. But we're going to do another one because his summer one did so good. A lot of people talked about it, that we're going to do a winter one and put that into rotation. So as you could tell, when this story dropped this week, it was instantly thought that I was running around in a suit in wintergreen, given that's my kind of home area, old stomping grounds. And it was not. I swear to y'all, it was not. But back to Bigfoot. So I'm going to plug my other podcast real quick. I don't want you to stop listening to this one and go to that one, but go to Bigfoot Classified, because that one, all right, there have been some fantastic stories and actual real life kind of conspiracy theories surrounding real life events of Bigfoot. And you listen, wherever you fall on the Bigfoot fence, whether you believe or don't, that's not what I'm talking about. That podcast, Bigfoot Classified, like there's like the Mount St. Helens eruption that happened in the 80s, right? There are a ton of stories and eyewitness accounts that say that they saw Bigfoot in the Bigfeet family, whatever, in the aftermath. And I dive into that for 3 episodes. There's another one called Battle Mountain. There's another one, the Alaska, the one up in Alaska. There's like a fishing village that went abandoned. And listen, I approach it from a way where I don't always believe Bigfoot is the answer in it. There's some stories that it is unexplained. I will admit it. Okay. But some of them are explained if you actually dive deeper and do some research, but the urban legends are more exciting, right? So go listen to that podcast, but I have some calls that I am going to put in this episode to kind of whet your palate, kind of tease you, kind of just give you a little taste of the Bigfoot mystery. And if you want to call this podcast and leave me a story of Bigfoot, whatever, I don't care. I'll talk about it because I got some wild stories. Call me 540-425-0596. Leave me a message. But do I believe in Bigfoot? Man, that's a loaded question now, y'all. This show is all about fun and games, using AI for bad voiceovers and having a good time. Do I really want to get into supernatural beliefs? I don't know if that's where I want to take this show, y'all. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Let's go back to Littleton, North Carolina. This was back in 2019, right? Let's go back to that. Go back to that day. And did my wife and I see actual footprints in the middle of nowhere after hiking like two hours deep into dense wooded state park in the middle of North Carolina? Did we see over 20-inch long footprints? We did. We saw 2 of them. Did we see 150 trees snapped in 2, 7 feet high off the ground? We did. We sure did. Eyewitness account right here. I'm not lying. I'll take a lie detector test. While we were waiting for Steve to go get the casting kit and come back, did we feel like somebody was watching us and doing some tree knocks? We did. 120% we did. So that day, I absolutely believe Bigfoot. Do I believe in Bigfoot today? I need more evidence. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he could be real. I'm not gonna lie. I think Bigfoot could be real. I think that there are so many things that are unexplained and so many areas that in this world that have no, people have a hard time getting to. Or, how many times have you stumbled on a dead bear body out in the middle of the woods, hardly any. So needless to say, if there's like a handful of Bigfoot walking around and they die, are you not going to stumble on a skeleton? So I don't know. Listen, I know what I saw in Littleton, North Carolina. I know what I saw. And I know this story, when this story came out, it's a shame that, the guy that was dressed in the costume even said anything, because I almost want people to have a sense of wonder. And if it was him, okay, people take it seriously. Yeah, people are just kind of wanting something, but a little bit of you wants it to be real, doesn't it? Like when you get this news story, you want to have that open-ended, like, could it be real? Could it be real? And then they kind of squash it a little bit at the end when the guy admitted that it got out of hand. I don't think it got out of hand, sir. I think he quit too early. If it was me in that Bigfoot costume, I would have an orange vest on, though, for real, though. That is a dangerous area for you to do that, sir. I don't know who you are. You got a good costume because I think we got the same dealer. But you got to be real careful out in Nelson County. At least old school Nelson County, where I went to high school. I know probably 50% of the kids in the parking lot of my high school all had hunting guns in the back of their trucks. And I could tell you right now, with a convincing Bigfoot costume and the right kid would have pulled up on that, it'd have been a completely different news story. So let's do this. I want you to listen to these calls. I want to whet your appetite for some Bigfoot sightings, because I feel like the season of Bigfoot is coming. The season of Bigfoot's on the way, everybody. Listen to these calls. Call me. I want you to call me and leave a story. If you have a Bigfoot story or whatever story. I don't know. I'm probably talking about Disney next episode. Maybe. I don't know. As you can tell, just open-ended. 540-425-0596. 540-425-0596. It's a recorded number I will not pick up. I promise you won't have to have social interactions with me. You could leave me a voicemail. I'll play it, because listen, I'm going to tell you what. I like the unknown. I like it open-ended. I don't like to know that there's a guy in a suit in the woods and stuff got out of hand. You know what I want to know? I want to know, when's the next sighting? Do we need to go up there? It's a good question. Maybe it's time for a trip to Wintergreen.
Yes, sir. This is Henry. Me and a couple of my friends, and a 10-year-old son went out and running a trot line out here on the San Jacinto River one night. It was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And me and one guy, he cuts trees down for a living for the National Forest. And he was in the boat with me, and and him got the trot line, and we got it strung across we tied it on the one side of the bank, and then we were paddling it across the other side. Got to the other side, and we tied it off, and we started baiting it. We got about halfway of baiting this damn trot line, and we're down in the river, so there's a levee above us on one side of the bank, and it's real steep. It's like 30, 40 foot, and it's real steep, and it's hard to climb up and down. If you wanted to go up there, it'd be really hard to go up there. And we got about halfway baiting this trout line, and this thing up there started walking. And I'm in the boat, and I hear this thing walking. The guy in the front of the boat, he didn't hear it. And I hear it, and he started finally hearing. I said, "What the hell is that?" He goes, "Oh, that's the horses or pigs or cows or something walking." I said, "Dude, that thing is 2 foot, and it's big." And all three of us have been hunters and fishermen all our life. We're in our 40s when we were doing this. And this damn thing started walking up there, and every footstep, it took every bit of 4 to 5 seconds or more for that other foot to hit the ground. And when it did, it crushed everything underneath its feet. You could hear this thing walking, crush, and then wait about 4 to 5 seconds, and then crush again. It just kept walking. And I told that guy, I said, "That's 2 foot, and it's freaking big, dude." And he started listening to it, and then the one son and the 10-year-old boy were over there by my truck. And the kid was telling, I could hear him over there, "Dad, what is that? What is that?" And the dad's telling him to be quiet. And then the kid starts crying because he could see the fear in his, look in his dad's eyes, because his dad wasn't paying attention to him. He was looking up there on that up on top of that levee. hearing this thing walk. So the guy in the boat with me, he looks at me and tells me we need to get the hell out of there. And I look at him and go, why? And he goes, we just need to go. We need to get out of here and get out of here now. So he paddles all the way back over there where we tied the trout line up to the other side of the bank, and he cuts the trout line. And then he starts grabbing the trout line and pulls it back inside the boat. I mean, he's pulling this, and I usually put my trout line back on a stick so it don't get all tangled up. But he was yanking us, putting it in the boat, and he didn't give a shit. So we get over the other side of the bank, and I got an M1 carbine in the truck. I got 3 banana clips. I got 90 rounds, 30 round banana clips. And I told him, man, paddle me across over there, and I want to go check this thing out. Go see what it is. And I had one of them old cheesy flashlights that had the big square battery in it. You know, you had to shake it to get it to work once in a while. And it wasn't really bright. You could probably see maybe 10, 20 feet with that dang thing. And he goes, Henry, I'm paddling you across, but I'm leaving. We're leaving you here. I said, how can you leave me here in my truck? Because Henry, the keys are in the truck. We're leaving. We're getting the hell out of here. We need to go. Well, he cuts trees down for the national forest. And he knew what was up in that woods. And he knew that I didn't have enough firepower to take care of myself up there for some reason. I had a 30, M1 carbine. That's a pretty good, good round. But he was dead on set on leaving me there, and I said nope. I jumped in the truck and we left, man. But I don't understand. That's my story. I mean, that was, and I don't go in the woods by myself anymore. I know what's out there, and it's not everybody, and people don't know what's out there, and it's out there. Whatever it is, it's out there.
Hi, my name's Alan. I'm calling from Central Pennsylvania. My story goes back probably to about 1979, 1980. My father and I were night fishing in a local creek. It's called Fishing Creek. And we were away from the road, away from houses, away from people. And just as it started to get dark, we heard movement. And being where we were, we thought deer. So, it was no big deal. Then after it got dark, and nobody knew where we were, we had to walk probably a quarter mile, half mile up the creek where we were fishing. Stones started to fall around us. And this is before everything was big, where people said, oh, yeah, Bigfoot throws stones at you and you got to watch out. And this was before anybody even knew anything about that. Then they started landing in the water right in front of us. And I'm not talking about pebbles. I'm talking about, hefty stones, like larger than softballs, literally splashing us. My dad yelled, as a father would, and it didn't matter. Then the tree started shaking after he yelled. It was almost as if he made this animal upset that he was showing aggression towards it. Then the rocks got bigger and started landing on the dirt around us. And I got scared. I was probably about 14, 15 years old at the time. And I said, Dad, let's get out of here. I don't know what this is. It doesn't make any sense. It's not kids. So we hiked it out of there quickly, and it followed us, throwing the stones in the creek, and along the creek, you could hear the bushes on the other side of the creek really shaking. This was probably in July of 79, so there wasn't like a whole lot of Bigfoot sightings in Pennsylvania at that time, or at least there weren't Bigfoot sightings that were broadcast. I don't know if, in fact, this was a Squatch, but I do know that whatever it was big and was telling us to get the hell out of there. And we did. We hightailed it out of there. And honestly, to this day, I have not gone back to that spot. The other thing is that I didn't add, the other side of the creek from us was a very small patch of ground with trees. And then there was a sheer wall, probably 40 feet high, 30 feet high. So the stones weren't coming from the top of that. They were coming across the creek at us. They weren't coming off the top of this cliff that was there. So I just wanted to share my story. I've only ever told maybe 4 or 5 other people about this. My dad has never spoken about it since. He's passed since this happened, but we never told anybody what happened there, and we never fished that spot together again. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's an old story, but it is a true story. And in July here in Pennsylvania, around that time, we have a lot of blackberries growing. So I don't know if they were following the food up or down. I don't know which direction they follow, if they follow that creek.
And that's a wrap, folks.